my sound off, and the sound off section is always going to be just honestly, guys, our most brief section, or at least it's intended to be. This shouldn't be something where like Jeff or I are going on a 30-minute diatribe about the negative aspects of the NIL payments that colleges are giving players. So for me, my sound off today is really just on the respect of the game. And I think that what I love about the media space right now is I love listening to ex or former athletes share their perspective because they have inside information that other people just simply don't have access to. So when I start thinking about respecting the game, what I'm talking about is there's this dichotomy that exists between the old school and the new school. And the old school all thinks that the new school is not fundamental enough, and they don't play enough team basketball, and they don't do this and they don't do that. And the new school thinks that the old school is all plumbers and they weren't any good and they weren't. And it's like both of those perspectives are actually inaccurate. And like what I have been blessed with is I have a son, Trey, who is now 6. He'll turn 7 in October. He has taken a great interest in sports, which I love. He has taken a great interest in basketball, which I love. So his nighttime routine is pretty basic. Like we get on jammies, we make sure that we're ready in bed. We read a little bit of a book. One of them always involves basketball. Another one is something fun or silly that kind of stretches him and he reads it a little bit, which is great. But then immediately after that, his go-to is he gets on the phone with me and he'll watch 3 minutes of any number of things that he wants. Now, when it's an animal book, it's most likely he's going to want to see something about animals. But right now, we're big into this basketball encyclopedia for kids. So all he's watching is Michael Jordan highlights. And there is a 2-hour video on YouTube about all of Michael Jordan's highlights from his two three-peats. And you want to know what's so funny about how people don't respect the game? What are some of the biggest knocks on Michael Jordan from the new generation, Jeff? Like, what do you think those knocks are on him
Took too many
compared to LeBron,
shots. Took too
obviously?
many shots. Couldn't shoot threes. Competition was weak.
So let me say this, having now watched with my son,
I would like to say before you say that, those are
yes.
not my takes.
No,
That's
no,
just
no,
me.
no. I get it. And
That's
I
just me
asked you for
saying what they would
yes.
say.
Sure, sure, sure.
Playing devil's advocate, I'm not.
First game of his first finals. Does anyone know what this man's stat line was? 36, 8, and 12 assists. He averaged 9 assists for the series. And the guys that are defending him on the Lakers are all-time great defenders, whether it be an AC Green, whether it be a Byron Scott. These are not slouches when it comes to defensive basketball. The flip side of that is, what do you think every old school fan would say about the Thunder? What are the knocks on the Thunder right now?
They're soft,
Right, right.
even though they're
So
not. Like that's the whole thing.
not fundamental enough. Like Shea dominates the ball too often. Like generic offense, blah blah. Like guys, that's not true.
All
Like
all all silly talking points on
well,
both.
exactly, but that's the thing is it's like there's no mutual respect for the fact that the people that came before you paved the way for you to get here. So you studying their game, their footwork, this and that, that matters tremendously. The flip side of that is the old school guys are passing the torch or should be passing the torch in the correct way. And it feels like right now there's this like huge contrast between the two. And you see it now with kids at the teenage level who think, well, these are the only point guards that have ever mattered, or these are the only, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like these guys were really, really good. Like it's not that any player can't exist in a separate era. It's that that argument is actually stupid because you're never going to see it anyway.
Yeah.
So why not learn and respect and watch the film? I'm watching the film with Trey. I know what I see. So to me, I think that my big challenge and my sound off to end our first podcast is guys, just respect the game of basketball. This isn't a situation where it needs to be this beef between new, old, this, that, and the third. Like the game is beautiful. It's meant to create this enormous amount of emotion and build character skills that can transcend lifetimes. Like, let's respect what is in front of us and what is behind us. That would be my sound off for today. Let's respect the game a bit more.
So I would just have two things to add to that. One, Trey and I have the same bedtime routine, and two, uh, yeah, I think it's just one of those things where it's impossible to look at basketball as a whole, as a collective.
Right.
The game's just changed so much. Rules have changed. Ath
Yes.
Science has changed. Medical stuff has changed.
Yes.
Everything has changed. Everything has changed except for the dimensions of the court and the basket. That's the only thing that's remained the same. Well, and even that's changed when they added the 3-point line. But my point being is, it's like Bob Cousy. People look at the film and they laugh at it because he looks silly dribbling the ball. You weren't allowed to use your wrist to possess the ball back then. People don't care to read the rules. They don't know
Right.
what he was dealing with. You couldn't turn the ball over. That was a travel. That was a carry. So, and then you look at the illegal defenses and how things have changed over time, and how things it's different. Scoring is different
Right.
now. 30 points per game is not better or worse than it was 20, 30 years ago. It's just different.
Correct.
Yeah, is it more efficient? Sure, but it's just different. The game is different all throughout these decades, and any real basketball um, fan or person that actually educates themselves on the game has gone through this, and they have watched the game evolve, and they see what it is and what it was and what it's become. So the greats are always going to be great. Those guys were going to be great in any era. If you drop Larry Bird or Wilt Chamberlain in today's game, they would have been great regardless, because the resources given to them would have allowed them to be great, even though they were great in their own time.
Isn't it so funny too that like when people talk about those things, they're always like, well, Larry Bird could never be great now because of the way that he played then. And it's like
Larry Bird is Kevin
you're
Durant.
you're not paying attention to what evolution is. Like the spacing of the modern look at the film. I just this is the thing that bothers me. Everyone wants to make arguments. It's all in the film.
Yeah.
It all exists. Like
But they watch the film and they think that the guys that are in it aren't as good. But it
right?
ultimately,
Like, oh, these guys aren't skilled.
yeah,
What are you talking about? Like, it's a totally different thing. Now, are players potentially more skilled? Sure, but they should be based on evolution.
sure.
Like, but at the same time, are there missing elements of the game that were better back then in terms of footwork, in terms of foundation? You can make that argument.
Well, and in terms of team building, because there was less player movement, because there was less player freedom. So you
Right,
had more established teams that were running legitimate offenses and had real defensive structures. Now that's impossible. So you see so many teams just run
right.
a spread
Well
high pick
said.
and roll system. So, but anyway, I digress. I would say for my talking point, ultimately it kind of just feeds off of yours in terms of respect the game, but more on the court. I understand that guys are playing more basketball than ever, but I just think, why are you playing if you're not playing hard? Uh, I just don't understand the sentiment behind playing anything other than hard. I don't get it. I've watched so many kids over the last decade play their way into scholarships and into stuff beyond high school. So I just don't understand why kids don't play hard all the time. It's not even like a coaching cliche, but there's just no reason not to. There's no benefit to playing anything other than your hardest, which, again, as I say, that sounds corny, but it's just real. Guys who play hard stand out, point blank period.
I mean, I don't know that there's anything else to even say about that. I mean, you're seeing kids get scholarship offers based on production. Production in large part is based on your ability to play hard. I mean, we have players right now at TBS who I think are playing their way into some pretty phenomenal situations because of their effort. And because when people look at a stat line, that's what's sexy and grabs attention. So, I totally understand it. There's also nothing more infuriating than losing a game based on effort. Literally nothing. There is nothing as a coach. Like if you do your part with the scout and we feel prepared and you go out and you simply just don't play as hard as you should, it is the most enraging thing because it's something that is totally out of your control as a coach. I mean, you can give as many motivational speeches as you want. I actually enjoyed coaching this past weekend for this reason. Losing the first game on Friday and just being like so unnecessarily enraged because I lost that game to the Charleston Raptors, uh, like absolutely just furious. And literally the next day in our huddle, just being like, all right, no more like team talks or motivation. Like we'll talk right before tip off. Let's rock and roll. And then kids playing well, like that was very gratifying. So, no, I'm with you. I don't understand it, but from the kids' perspective too, it's like this may be a little too much though, Jeff. And that may be a topic for another podcast,
Totally. I don't
but
disagree.
I think that, when you start talking about them, I remember my AAU structure. When we would go to play, it was all about qualifying for Orlando and going to AAU
Right.
Nationals.
It's a
If you
different
were
world.
if you were not able to go to Vegas or California, that was the place you wanted to go. And they had two divisions, right? They had Division One, which was all of what would become the Nike, the Adidas shoe sponsored teams. And then you had more good regional teams, which is what I played on. Shout out Eastern Shore Hoop Stars, St.
Sure.
Michael's in Eastern Maryland. Uh, but for a team like that, we only had to play like the bracket to get to that point was only like 8 games. Like it was you don't get many chances at this, dog. Like it's like there were 2 games at a local high school, and there you'd probably play 3 or 4 showcase games over the course of 2 weekends. I vividly remember playing teams like Baltimore Stars or Cecil Kirk when they were at their peak. Like I vividly remember this. But like you can give your effort when it's only 8 over the course of 2 weekends in a month. Like that's not as challenging. Kids now are playing, it's crazy. Like
I agree. I don't
it's
disagree
crazy.
with that, but to your point, that can be left for another
Fair
podcast.
point. I digress. I don't, yeah, I
Table
digress.
that.
Cool. Any last words for the people before we get out of here?
Nope. I think that that was worth our $0 we put into it.
Yes, as you heard here first, Jeff just said our podcast is worth $0. And
Currently,
while that is a joke, he is also not wrong. It literally is $0 at this
wait
current
till we
moment.
open it up to being publicly traded.
Fantastic. Thank you everyone for tuning into the first episode of Buckets and Banter. We hope that you guys will tune in and we'll continue to add some listeners here in the near future. If you do have any ideas about topics to converse or to talk about or to banter about, feel free to shoot us a comment, a DM. Jeff really likes when parents of players that he's writing about DM him about various mistakes that he's made. And that will definitely be something that we save for another time. But thanks so much for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you next week.